Mr. Johnson's life was a rich tapestry, woven with experiences of courage, sacrifice, and resilience. He had served his country in the military, a time that shaped him in profound ways. The memories of training, camaraderie, and the harsh realities of combat stayed with him long after he returned home. While he had fought valiantly for freedom, the battle he faced upon returning to civilian life was different and often more challenging. After his service, Mr. Johnson encountered a world that was not always welcoming. He faced discrimination that ranged from subtle remarks to overt hostility, reflecting a society that sometimes overlooked the contributions of veterans like him, especially those from marginalized backgrounds. Yet, instead of letting these experiences embitter him, he chose to channel his energy into uplifting those around him. Mr. Johnson became a mentor to young people in the neighborhood, sharing stories from his past that were filled with valuable lessons about integrity, courage, and the importance of standing up for what is right. He often organized gatherings at the park, where he would invite local youth to discuss their dreams and aspirations. His gentle yet firm guidance helped many navigate the challenges they faced, instilling in them a sense of purpose and hope. His home was always open to those in need, whether it was offering a listening ear or providing support to families struggling to make ends meet. The community came to regard him not just as a veteran, but as a father figure and a source of wisdom. His kindness and unwavering spirit made him a beloved figure, and many sought him out for advice or simply to share a laugh. Through all his trials, Mr. Johnson maintained an optimistic outlook. He believed in the power of community and the importance of unity in the face of adversity. His resilience inspired others, and he became a beacon of hope for many. In a world that often seemed divided, he embodied the spirit of togetherness, proving that even in the darkest times, compassion could forge bonds that transcended race and background. One sunny afternoon, as families gathered to enjoy the park, a tense atmosphere began to unfold. A call had come in to the local police about a disturbance, and officers arrived with a sense of urgency. Unbeknownst to them, the situation would spiral out of control in ways they had not anticipated. Mr. Johnson, sitting on a bench and sharing stories with some children, sensed the shift in energy as the police approached. The officers, responding to the call, were quick to assess the situation. Miscommunication and assumptions led them to believe that Mr. Johnson posed a threat. With a commanding voice, one of the officers issued an order for their K-9 unit to take action. The command echoed through the park, and tension gripped the air as the dog was unleashed, ready to obey its handler's instructions. As the K-9 raced toward Mr. Johnson, the crowd watched in shock. Gasps filled the air, and parents instinctively pulled their children closer. But rather than aggression, the dog exhibited a surprising reaction. Instead of lunging at Mr. Johnson, the K-9 hesitated, sensing the calmness and warmth emanating from the elderly veteran. In a moment that seemed to stretch on for an eternity, the dog approached Mr. Johnson slowly, its tail wagging gently. The tension in the park began to dissipate as people witnessed this unexpected bond. Mr. Johnson knelt down, extending his hand, and the dog responded with curiosity, sniffing and nuzzling against him. This gesture of trust cut through the fear that had gripped the crowd. The sight of an elderly black veteran and a K-9 forming a connection shocked everyone present. It was a moment that transcended the initial fear and hostility, illustrating the profound impact of compassion and understanding. The onlookers began to cheer, and a wave of relief washed over the park. What started as a potential confrontation transformed into a powerful display of empathy, reminding everyone that even in moments of tension, kindness could prevail. Mr. Johnson's calm demeanor and the dog's gentle approach became symbols of hope, urging the community to rethink their perceptions and biases. The crowd erupted in applause, a collective acknowledgement of the unexpected turn of events. In that pivotal moment, the barriers between the police and the community began to crack, revealing the possibility of unity and trust. As the applause echoed through the park, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Mr. Johnson stood up, brushing the dirt off his pants, and looked into the eyes of the crowd. He could see the mixture of relief and disbelief on their faces. With a warm smile, he raised his hands to quiet the gathering, wanting to share a message that resonated deeply within him. "Today, we witnessed something remarkable," he began, his voice steady and filled with emotion. "In a world where fear often drives us apart, we saw how understanding can bridge that gap. This dog," he gestured to the K9, now sitting contentedly by his side, "reminds us that even those who are trained for confrontation can respond to kindness. It's a lesson for all of us." The crowd listened intently as Mr. Johnson spoke about the importance of looking beyond appearances and assumptions. He shared stories from his own life, recounting moments when he had been judged unfairly based on the color of his skin or his age. Yet he emphasized how those experiences had taught him the value of empathy, patience, and the power of community. "Every one of us has a story," he continued, "a background that shapes who we are. But we must remember that our shared humanity is far more significant than our differences. When we come together, we can overcome the barriers that divide us. Today, let's choose to be a community that stands together, that supports one another, and that fosters understanding." As he spoke, the crowd began to nod in agreement. The police officers, who had initially approached with caution, stepped forward, listening intently to Mr. Johnson's words. They felt the weight of the moment and recognized the need for change in their own practices and attitudes. Inspired by Mr. Johnson's message, members of the community began to share their own experiences, creating a dialogue that had long been absent. People spoke about their fears, their hopes, and their desire for a safer, more inclusive environment. The park, once a backdrop for tension, transformed into a space for healing and connection. Parents encouraged their children to engage with one another, regardless of their backgrounds, fostering friendships that transcended the divisions that often separated them. The presence of the K9, a symbol of both law enforcement and unexpected compassion, further solidified this bond. By the end of the day, the incident that had begun with fear culminated in a celebration of unity. Mr. Johnson, surrounded by children and families, laughed and shared stories, his heart full of hope. The officers, too, left with a renewed sense of purpose, understanding the importance of community engagement and empathy in their roles. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden hue over the park, it was clear that this day would be remembered not for the discord it could have caused, but for the lessons learned and the connections forged. Mr. Johnson's words echoed in the hearts of everyone present, inspiring them to foster kindness and understanding in their daily lives. The park had become a symbol of hope, showing that even in the face of fear, compassion could lead the way to a brighter future. In the days that followed, the impact of that day in the park began to ripple through the community. Inspired by Mr. Johnson's message, residents took it upon themselves to initiate conversations that had long been avoided. Neighborhood meetings were organized, where people from all walks of life gathered to discuss their concerns and aspirations. These gatherings became a platform for sharing stories, fostering empathy, and building trust. Mr. Johnson played a pivotal role in these meetings, guiding discussions with his wisdom and compassion. He encouraged residents to voice their experiences, reminding them that vulnerability was a strength, not a weakness. As people shared their stories, they found common ground, discovering that many of their struggles were intertwined. The walls that had separated them began to crumble, replaced by a sense of solidarity. Meanwhile, the police department took notice of the positive changes in the community. Recognizing the need for improved relations, they began to implement new strategies focused on community engagement. Officers started participating in local events, volunteering for neighborhood cleanups, and attending the gatherings initiated by Mr. Johnson and other community members. They listened actively, acknowledging past mistakes and expressing a genuine desire to rebuild trust. One day, the police chief attended a meeting led by Mr. Johnson. Standing before the gathered community, he apologized for the misunderstandings and tension that had existed in the past. He emphasized the department's commitment to serving and protecting all members of the community, regardless of their background. This gesture resonated deeply, showing that change was possible when leaders chose to listen and learn. As the weeks turned into months, the park transformed into a hub of activity. Families organized picnics, children played together without fear, and cultural events celebrated the diversity within the community. The K9 that had once been a source of tension became a beloved mascot, often seen participating in local events and further bridging the gap between police and residents. Mr. Johnson, witnessing these changes, felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had always believed in the power of connection and understanding, and now he saw those beliefs manifesting in real and tangible ways. His heart swelled with pride as he watched the younger generations embrace the values of empathy and community. In one particularly memorable event, the community organized a Day of Unity at the park. It featured food from various cultures, live music, and activities for all ages. The police department set up a booth, inviting families to meet officers in a relaxed environment. Mr. Johnson was the guest of honor, sharing his journey and encouraging everyone to continue building bridges. As the sun set on the Day of Unity, it was clear that the park had become more than just a place for recreation. It was a symbol of hope and resilience. The stories of fear and misunderstanding were being replaced with narratives of compassion and collaboration. Mr. Johnson's belief that kindness could overcome adversity was no longer just an ideal. It was a living reality. This transformation inspired other communities nearby to take similar steps towards healing and unity. News of the park's revival spread, attracting visitors who wanted to learn from their example. Mr. Johnson was often invited to share his story, spreading the message that change begins with individuals willing to stand up for what is right. As the seasons changed and the years went by, the park remained a testament to the power of empathy and understanding. Mr. Johnson, now a revered elder in the community, continued to advocate for kindness, reminding everyone that their actions could create a ripple effect, inspiring others to choose compassion over fear. The legacy of that fateful day lived on, proving that even in the face of adversity, the bonds of humanity could triumph, creating a brighter future for all. As time passed, Mr. Johnson's influence in the community deepened. He became a mentor, not just to the youth, but also to adults seeking to navigate their own challenges. His home was a gathering place for discussions on social justice, community responsibility, and the importance of empathy. He organized workshops that encouraged participants to explore their biases and learn how to communicate effectively across differences. One particularly impactful workshop focused on storytelling as a means of healing. Participants shared their personal narratives, often revealing experiences of pain, discrimination, and resilience. Mr. Johnson facilitated these sessions with grace, guiding everyone toward recognizing the common threads in their stories. This process not only fostered understanding, but also built a supportive network among participants. The local police department, too, continued to evolve. Officers were encouraged to attend these workshops, engaging in open dialogues with residents. This initiative led to the formation of a community advisory board, composed of both police and community members, aimed at addressing concerns collaboratively. The board provided a platform for residents to voice their needs and for officers to learn about the community's perspectives. As the relationships between police and residents strengthened, the overall atmosphere in the neighborhood began to shift. Crime rates dropped, and people felt safer and more connected. The park, once a site of tension, became a vibrant center of community life, hosting regular events that celebrated diversity and fostered unity. One day, as Mr. Johnson walked through the park, he noticed a group of children painting a mural on a large canvas. They were depicting scenes of unity, kindness, and friendship, inspired by the stories they had heard from him and their own experiences. Watching them, he felt a profound sense of hope for the future. Realizing the importance of continuing this momentum, Mr. Johnson proposed an annual Unity Festival. The festival would celebrate the diverse cultures within the community, featuring food, music, art, and stories from residents of all backgrounds. The idea was met with enthusiasm, and planning began immediately. As the festival approached, excitement filled the air. Community members collaborated to organize activities, from traditional dance performances to storytelling sessions led by Mr. Johnson. The police department participated wholeheartedly, setting up booths to interact with families and share information about community safety. On the day of the Unity Festival, the park was alive with laughter and music. Families dressed in traditional attire, sharing dishes that represented their heritage. Mr. Johnson welcomed everyone with a heartfelt speech, emphasizing the importance of love and understanding in building a brighter future. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the park, the community gathered for a final performance, a collaborative dance that included people of all ages and backgrounds. Laughter and cheers echoed around them, reinforcing the bonds that had been formed through shared experiences and mutual respect. In that moment, Mr. Johnson looked around, his heart swelling with pride. The park had transformed into a symbol of hope, resilience, and unity. The journey had not been without its challenges, but the collective effort of the community had created a legacy that would inspire future generations. As the festival came to a close, Mr. Johnson knew that their work was far from over. There would always be challenges to face, but together, they had proven that compassion could overcome fear. The bonds they had forged would serve as a foundation for continued growth and understanding. With a renewed sense of purpose, Mr. Johnson committed himself to the ongoing journey of building bridges, ensuring that the lessons learned would be passed down to the next generation. He understood that through love, empathy, and unity, they could create a world where everyone felt valued and respected, a world where kindness reigned supreme. As the years rolled on, the Unity Festival became a cherished tradition in the community. Each year, it grew larger, drawing in more visitors from neighboring towns and even cities. The festival was a celebration of not just diversity, but of the strength that comes from unity. Families would mark their calendars in anticipation, excited to partake in the festivities that honored their shared humanity. Mr. Johnson, now a beloved elder, continued to play a vital role in the festival's planning. His wisdom was sought after, not just for his experience, but for his ability to inspire others to see the beauty in their differences. He encouraged the youth to take leadership roles, ensuring that the next generation would carry forward the spirit of compassion and understanding. During one festival, a local news crew arrived to cover the event. They interviewed Mr. Johnson, capturing his thoughts on the transformation of the community. With a twinkle in his eye, he spoke about how love could bind people together, even in the face of adversity. "We've built something special here," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "It's a testament to what happens when we choose connection over division." The coverage of the festival brought attention to the community, highlighting their journey of healing and unity. People from all walks of life came to witness the change, eager to learn from the example set by Mr. Johnson and his neighbors. Workshops on conflict resolution, empathy training, and community building began to pop up in other towns, inspired by the positive outcomes witnessed in Mr. Johnson's community. But even as the community thrived, challenges still arose. Issues of inequality and misunderstanding occasionally reared their heads, reminding everyone that the journey toward true unity was ongoing. Mr. Johnson took these moments as opportunities for growth, organizing discussions that encouraged openness and honesty. He would often remind residents that growth doesn't come without discomfort, and facing difficult conversations was a necessary step toward progress. One winter, a significant storm hit the area, causing widespread damage and power outages. The community found itself in a crisis, but the bonds they had forged over the years became their greatest strength. Neighbors rallied to help one another, sharing resources, food, and warmth. Mr. Johnson led efforts to organize emergency shelters, ensuring that no one was left out in the cold. In the face of adversity, the community's spirit shone brighter than ever. People who had once been strangers came together to support one another, demonstrating the true essence of unity. This crisis solidified their commitment to each other, reinforcing the values Mr. Johnson had instilled in them. As spring arrived and the world began to heal from the storm, Mr. Johnson reflected on the resilience of his community. He saw firsthand how their shared experiences had transformed them into a family, bound not by blood, but by love and mutual respect. The lessons learned during difficult times became stories of strength that they would pass down to future generations. One evening, as the sun set over the park, Mr. Johnson gathered with a group of children who had grown up attending the Unity Festival. They sat under the old oak tree, a favorite spot of his. With a gentle smile, he shared stories of his youth, of challenges he faced, and how he overcame them through kindness and perseverance. The children listened intently, their eyes wide with admiration. "Remember," he said, "the world can be tough, but it's our choice to make it better. Every act of kindness counts, no matter how small. You have the power to create change, just as we did together in this community." The children nodded, inspired by his words. They had seen the impact of unity firsthand, and they were eager to carry on his legacy. Mr. Johnson knew that the future was bright, filled with promise and potential. As he looked around at the laughter and joy of the children, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. His journey had come full circle, and he realized that the seeds of compassion he had planted would continue to grow, nurturing a community that would stand strong against any adversity that came their way. With a heart full of hope, Mr. Johnson understood that while the road ahead might still hold challenges, the bonds of love and unity they had forged would guide them through. The park, once a symbol of tension, had become a sanctuary of hope, a place where stories were shared, connections were made, and lives were transformed. And in that moment, he knew that their story would continue, inspiring generations to come.